So, welcome to Too Smart to Be This Tired. It took me a minute and a half to get this clear on the things that I want to teach everyone on, and that's maybe a little sarcasm, but definitely want you all to know, especially the ones who don't know me that well. Hello from the UK, lovely, welcome. India, nice. France, but currently in Arizona, awesome. Myrtle Beach. I hear it's beautiful there. I've never been to any of these places, but hopefully one day. I've been to UK. Uh, Arizona, I've been there as well. Daniel from Missouri and Sacramento. Got San Diego. Nice. San Francisco. I love San Fran. My brother lived there for a while. So my personal experience has allotted me the muscle, and let me also say the heart to want to give this gift back. And ultimately, I teach this because I would love for everyone that I speak with and interact with that's interested and aligned with my vision and goals to gain the most benefit from this, to get out of their own way, to avoid any unnecessary chaos. I would like to start with a breathing exercise that we will all do together. I'm going to give you the brief instructions. And just remember, today is not about productivity. It's about your energetic truth and your right to lead from your overflow of energy, not from burnout. This is going to be a space for leaders who essentially want more power with less self-abandonment. So during this breathing exercise, we're going to take a deep breath in. And as we do, I'd like for you to think to yourself, I reclaim my energy. And as you exhale, I want you to think, I release what's not mine to carry. Okay? And I'm going to direct this with you all in just a second here. Go ahead and take a deep breath in. I reclaim my energy. And exhale. I release what's not mine to carry. Remember, keep your journal nearby, guys. Your cameras are completely optional, and your full presence is encouraged. Now on to the next. Our auto suggestion for this next section is going to be, and if you'd like to write this down, I'll say it twice. I am ready to release old beliefs that no longer serve me. I am ready to release old beliefs that no longer serve me. I allow myself to question everything I've been taught about worth. I allow myself to question everything I've been taught about worth. Who here would like to share with me a limiting belief about something that they've already struggled with? Okay, so you all have been essentially lied to. You've been taught that the more that you do, the more you matter. Tom, thank you. I don't have enough time to do all that I want to do. I love that. I totally resonate with that. Perfect. At the root of all of these limiting beliefs that we have is chaos addiction. And for me specifically, this manifested as just a brief story to help you guys relate, and I'll go a little deeper into how we can get past these patterns within ourselves. But for me specifically, I grew up around patterns I knew I wanted to outgrow. I just didn't know how. And it took time, but I'd say for the majority of my upbringing, I lived for other people instead of myself. So I was constantly pouring into others. I was avoiding the mirror. I was more concerned about what was good for every other person and what was expected of me versus who I truly was, what energized me, and what made me happy. It took me having my daughter uh, to really wake me up and shift me. That was around 2013 when she was born. And I dove deeply after feeling this pain of regret of not looking at these things sooner. I dove deeply into self improvement work and jumped really, really, really fast in that direction because I wanted my daughter to see me, right? And I wanted to lead by example. So essentially, while I was in that state, I was running. I was running in the other direction. I was now driven by guilt to create something better in my life, which again ultimately kind of created the same pattern and chaos because I jumped headfirst into every opportunity I could see, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but in hindsight, had I moved a little more consciously and had I slowed down and had I not let chaos control me, I could have avoided a lot of things that popped up. It wasn't until I had a business failure that happened around, 2021. Uh, and also just dealing with other external stressors when essentially my whole life collapsed. And I was starting from square one once again. And it was me overcompensating essentially from that guilt that I felt because I had been running away from myself. And this is a pattern that I see so commonly in so many leaders and so many, just anyone who's a high performer in general, even if you're not leading people at a great capacity. And it took me really getting pushed against the wall from God when I started having some pretty severe health symptoms from the stress to realize, okay, I really need to do something different here. And I was forced. I was bedridden at this point. I won't go into the details, it's a lot, but I was forced for that year to really do some deep dive soul searching, to really look at my soul and my heart. And I'm very grateful that I had that year to do that. I understand that that's not something that everyone has the ability to do, but that's what gave me the clarity of where I'm at now. I also had a coach who does the work that I do, working with NLP and hypnosis, and really helped me get past the chaos that I was creating. And while I'm not going to sugarcoat it, it's not an overnight thing. It takes time. It's an unraveling. Ultimately, what gets us into these patterns is the chaos addiction, which brings us back to where we were, right? And I'd say today, uh, I'm very grateful to be able to teach this to you guys, just genuinely based on life experience and the things that I've unraveled on my own. Tom, 2 words people should limit the use of: I don't, fill in the blank, I could achieve this, but the word but already limits and reaffirms why you can't accomplish something. Beautiful, Tom. Thank you. Appreciate you sharing that. The words that we speak to ourselves are very powerful. So absolutely agree with that. So let's dive into chaos addiction. It's the subconscious dependency on stress, unpredictability, or emotional turmoil. It's not because it feels good. It's because it's familiar. So it's a nervous system imprint. It's something that's often rooted in trauma. It could also just be something that's rooted in you because of the home that you grew up in or the wounds that you've accumulated over the years unwittingly. And we tend to confuse peace with danger in this state, and we will associate adrenaline with aliveness. So it's essentially the compulsive need to create, attract, or remain in this emotionally volatile, high stress situations because the body and the brain have been conditioned to equate intensity with safety, love, or control. So, how does this show up? Give you some examples. I already gave you some of my own. If anyone here would like to share in the chat things that have happened in their lives, I'd love for you to be able to process that here with us, Nikki. And when you aren't going 100 miles per hour, you don't feel productive or accomplished. Yes. So this is how it shows up. Always putting out fires, whether it's in relationships, whether it's at work, maybe it's financial, maybe picking fights or overreacting when things get really calm. Because calm feels too foreign. There has to be something going on. Sabotaging peace, maybe with last minute decisions. It could be even impulsive actions or drama that you conjure up on your own just due to past patterns. You don't really know any better because you don't know what you don't know. It can show up as overcommitting, it can show up as overworking, or staying in toxic dynamics to feel needed. And if you're constantly living in this survival mode, when it's not required, it feels like home. So the amygdala in your brain, it's your brain's threat detector. It begins to associate the calm with danger. So again, this might be something that originated in childhood. Maybe there was unpredictability. Maybe there was neglect. Maybe there was just large transitions, or maybe a big life event happened. Maybe you just didn't know any better and you grew up around people who just already had these patterns. And you develop this false sense of, if I relax, I'll lose everything. Abdul, calm feels so foreign. Wow, well said. In this world full of noisy distraction, calm does feel foreign. Yeah, I mean, we have so many temptations day in and day out to constantly be attached to something that's productive and it's going to help us move the needle forward. But is it really productive if we're not in alignment with our soul? So it's the adrenaline and the cortisol that becomes addictive. Your body then begins to crave that chemical rush. And your subconscious believes calm equals boring, equals unsafe, or equals something's wrong. So part of the antidote we're going to be doing today is helping to regulate your body and your nervous system. And this can be done through breath work, different ways as well. So through the coaching and through the rewiring of our subconscious mind, the repatterning of everything, that's how we can get past this. And I'll tell you firsthand, it's like a muscle, and our subconscious mind works well through repetition. And a hack that I will gladly instill and keep saying for you guys is to immerse yourself in environments and around people that are doing the thing that you want. So if you want to be around someone who has already conquered what you are wanting to conquer, simply through co-regulation, your body will attune to that over time. It's not an overnight thing. There's no magic switch. And if anyone sells you that, I promise you that they're lying to you. It takes time, it takes effort, it's a process. But you're all here today for a reason. So you're absolutely in the right place. One thing I would recommend doing is tracking your triggers. So journal what you do In those moments when you're feeling calm, what are those thoughts that come up that want to kind of push outward, create chaos, XYZ, whatever it is? What are those thoughts that come up for you? And getting really clear on that in those moments. Are you reaching for your phone? Are you reaching for a distraction of some sort? Are you trying to jump into multiple projects at once? Are you feeling some anxiety or fear? Are you feeling maybe abandonment? Get really clear on what that feeling is. I'm going to pull up this PowerPoint again. Hopefully this will work. Let's see. The PowerPoint's very useful, so reaching for distraction, but not always. Yeah, like phone, TV. Yep. I know for me, one thing that I did a lot when I was younger is I was always pouring into other people. I was more focused on how I could help them. I was always hyper focused on doing the most that I could for others. Tom, I'd be happy to share that with you guys, the slide deck. Let me pull it up right now too. I really want you guys to see this because I feel like it'll be really helpful. And we'll just roll with the punches. See what happens. All right, so I'm going to introduce to you guys what's called the chaos loop. And it's what we get stuck in. And I already gave you an example based on what I went through, right? I was over functioning for so long, and then I felt that burnout, and then I felt the guilt, and then I started overcompensation because I was feeling guilty, and then I just kept repeating the cycle. There was never a time of rest, calm, peace. And even when I was resting, I was still running marathons. I didn't allow myself to just be. And this is something I want to make sure you guys get very clear on. I'm going to pull up the slide deck in a second. It may help you feel temporarily in control to continue the chaos loop, right? And you might crash and feel shame. And you may even crave calm, but sabotage it again. All right. Send request. I hope I'm not allowing any crazy person to share anything right now. There is a free Myers-Briggs assessment. Yep. They can do reviewing themselves with the following detailed review. Yeah, yep. The Myers-Briggs is an awesome assessment. I agree. When you get really clear on your patterns, and I want to say this in response to that, the Myers-Briggs is awesome, but I also want you to know that our personalities, as we evolve and grow and as we unravel certain patterns that are no longer aligned, our entire assessment results will shift as well. So if you're into doing those sort of things, I would recommend doing them maybe even quarterly to see where you're at, what personality type you are. Just, it's an interesting experiment. All right. I believe we already crossed this bridge, so let's keep moving forward. Yeah, yep. Thank you, Tom. So this is a cyclical nature, and we tend to get stuck in this loop. And this is what also keeps people stuck in the progression forward. And oftentimes it's because they don't know what they don't know, right? There's just, think of it as a hamster wheel. And until you really see it, you don't know you're stuck in it. And it took for me sitting with somebody who had already done the work to really understand what mine was and to get really clear on what those look like. So, number one on exiting the chaos loop is understanding how chaos addiction impacts you. This is by identifying the triggers that make your chaos loop worse. So, get really clear in those moments. Sit with yourself, get out your journal, and figure out what exactly is triggering me right now to continue this pattern. What are my behaviors? And make sure you recognize too your nervous system's urge for constant urgency so you can break free from that cycle efficiently. Hey, Cheryl, welcome back.
If I could interject, there's a person by the name of Stephen Covey. He wrote Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the keys that he said is people should continue to sharpen the saw or continue to evolve
Absolutely.
and not stay in the patterns of the past, but grow patterns that are productive, efficient, and effective for moving you forward. I think that's really key.
Absolutely. Very much aligned with my vision and energy. Thank you, Tom, for sharing that with everybody. So let's dive into this, shall we? Energy leaks are something that I would like to discuss with you all so that you can get really clear on the things that are distracting us from our ability to evolve, from our ability to pour our energy in the right direction, because everything that we're doing depletes or energizes. And once you get very clear on this, which is very necessary to get past things, then you can elevate beyond it. Then, with that awareness, it will no longer control you. So, with that said, I'd like to start with an auto suggestion to prime us for this next session. And I'll say it twice. I am willing to notice where my energy is leaking. I am willing to notice where my energy is leaking. And then two, I give myself permission to tell the truth about what's draining me. I give myself permission to tell the truth about what's draining me. So typically, energy leaks will happen when you are betraying yourself for the comfort of either someone else or an idea or a pattern that you are no longer aligned with, but you are still accommodating. And the three most common leaks are ones I want to discuss with you today, which one is people pleasing tasks. If anyone can resonate with this, please feel free to share in the chat. There are moments you say yes, right? But your body's screaming no. That's why it's really important to get clear on what your body's speaking to you, what your body's saying, because our bodies are very wise. And that's what causes and drains our energy. So it looks like overcommitting to other priorities. This was something I struggled with a lot. Agreeing to things for fear of conflict, maybe even fear of abandonment, or taking on tasks just to keep the peace or be seen as dependable. This will drain your energy because it's driven by performance, not purpose. It's an addiction to chaos. The second one would be emotional labor. So that's having this approval seeking desire through a form of maybe unpaid therapy. So you become the container for everyone else's emotions. Maybe you're the one that listens and soothes and advises and rescues and fixes them without even being asked. And you might feel depleted because of it, but no one's really even wanting or requesting these things from you until you make sure that that's something that's reciprocated, right? So then you start to feel as if you are drained. And you might constantly seek affirmation or reassurance just to feel worthy or safe. The next would be the chaos response behavior. So, as we discussed earlier, this is when you believe that your survival depends on staying in control. So, you're going to do the things like triple check your emails, jump into fires that aren't yours, micromanage, preemptively fix something that isn't broken. And these behaviors create the illusion of order, but at what cost? Your peace, your time, and your trust in others. So if you guys could go ahead and in your journals, I'd like for you to write down this journal prompt and work on it for the next minute. What am I tolerating that's draining my energy? What am I tolerating that's draining my energy? And then the next question is, what would I delete, delegate, or detox if I trusted that nothing would fall apart? What would I delete, delegate, or detox if I trusted that nothing would fall apart? I'll give you guys a minute, play some music for you. Just 1 second. I'm responding to the people who left who struggled to get back in. All right, let's push forward. And about tolerating something that drains energy. Well, I can't understand myself sometimes that I am tolerating looking too much on the phone for useless information, not something important. I am a responsible person, but I can't understand why and how I am allowing this behavior to drain my energy. Yeah, it's surprisingly very common. Yeah, thank you for your vulnerability. Thank you for sharing. In the age of social media, and we have so much data and information at our fingertips, right? It's so easy to get stuck in. I feel like that's another hamster wheel, right? It's this desire to want to do continual research. And while it's a good thing to want to know details and to understand what you're working towards, I'm not by any means saying don't do that. It's defeating the purpose if it's not allowing you to ever rest or to turn off completely or to step away from it and have time for clarity and peace. And in fact, in those moments, that's when our brain is able to really process things on a deeper level, and our subconscious, when we're in this lack of chaos, we we end up in this amazingly effortless flow state where things just sort of start to piece together. And if we don't allow that, right, then we're not allowing ourselves to have that power. So one other thing I want to get to today is our top 10 energy leaking personas. I started really paying close attention to the types of ways, and these are all, it's kind of like the Myers-Briggs thing. We could be multiple things, it's not just one. But if we become clear about how these things drain our energy, then we will no longer allow them to control us. So I'll read what each one is. The people pleaser tends to prioritize others, comfort before their own energy. The hyper performer is overworking and burning out to prove worth. The controller is needing to control situations that drain you. Fixer is always solving others' problems, neglecting your own. The chaos craver finds adrenaline and more familiar than the peace that they can accumulate without it. The chaser seeks constant validation. They struggle with setting boundaries. The over apologizer, they apologize excessively, even for things that aren't their fault. The ghost withdraws emotionally and avoids any kind of direct communication, avoiding things. The over responsible carries burdens of others, neglects their self needs. And the passive aggressive rebel indirectly resists but shows covert hostility. I don't know if any of these resonate with you, but it's good to get clear on these things so that we can define them and get past them, which is what we just did on our journal entry here. So if any of those resonated with you, if you need a copy of that again, just let me know. The goal would be to try to figure out with that persona, what is the opposite of the draining aspect of it that will give you more power instead of draining you. So for instance, the chaser seeking constant validation. So perhaps self-validation and setting boundaries so that they're not stressed or concerned about anything. And this part we have next, we'll be going over our CEO energy zone. I'd like to start with our auto suggestion and priming statements. I have permission to honor my unique rhythm. I have permission to honor my unique rhythm. I am allowed to lead in a way that energizes and sustains me. I am allowed to lead in a way that energizes and sustains me. Your business and your leadership style should honor your biology. not betray it. So this means designing your schedule, your offerings, even your communication style to reflect your own unique energy pattern. Some of us, if not all, from a young age, have accommodated to society's demands. And that doesn't fit each of our own unique personas. And that's okay. For instance, if you're most creative in the morning, protect that space like sacred ground. If your body needs a slower start or more spacious afternoons, build that in. That power, that true power, comes from alignment and getting really honest about where you thrive and where you don't, without forcing it, without trying so hard to fit into somebody else's mold. I'd say that is something that a lot of people, especially in the leadership realm, I've noticed tend to get addicted to, is they'll see someone they admire lead in a certain way and they'll attune to their way and maybe even feel as they're doing such, there's something wrong with me because it's not working. And that's because we are all unique. It's not technically supposed to work. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not offering wisdom that isn't worthwhile. It just means it's wisdom that was worthwhile for them. And you can accommodate it to what works for you. We all have our own unique algorithm, our own unique fingerprint. And now it's time to honor that. Because your true power is going to come from when you move from reacting to leading. And in order to access that power, you need to move with what works for you. So then you'll be no longer pushing, and you'll be magnetizing effortlessly, not in a malicious or manipulative way. You're just going to be yourself. You're going to attract the people that are aligned with who you are, and that's how it should be. So you'll go from that state of burnout where you're forcing, controlling, pushing, wanting, needing, clinging, avoiding, to overflow. So I want to ask you guys, when do you feel the most aligned in your lives? You can write that down. When do you feel the most aligned to lead, sell, or serve, or whatever it is that you do, right? We're all different. But when do you feel the most capable for that type of work? When is that for you? So the goal here for you guys is going to be, and we'll go over this quickly since we are a little bit over, is to align your tasks again with your rhythm. I had a good friend of mine that knew that the mornings were not for her. And so she didn't start truly doing any kind of heavy lifting until after 11 a.m. Ironically, she went to the gym every morning at 5 a.m. But for her, that was aligned for her natural rhythm, right? You don't have to use a whole lot of brain power to go to the gym, but going to the gym every morning helps center your mind and release extra energy and helps you focus throughout the day. So with that said, get really clear on what are your life-giving tasks? What are the things that give you energy? When I create execution plans for myself and my team, then effectively execute on those plans. Yeah. Beautiful. What are things that give you energy, right? But am I feeling better to lead when I have good compatibility with the people I'm leading? Mihai, I'm sorry. I would like a little more clarity. I feel like that's not just a black or white question, because there's a lot of underlying detail there that would need to be discussed before that would be fully discussed and answered. And I don't want to mislead you, but this is more for you. What feeds you on a soul level? What energizes you? What drains you, right? We're getting really clear on those things right now. And how can you align with your tasks and your natural rhythm? So perhaps for you, the life draining tasks, maybe that would be not having a compatibility with a team member, right? Or someone you're leading. So the goal is to really get clear on what those things are, and then you can mitigate it. Uh, this call would not be where we'd go too deep into that, but I'm happy to have that conversation with you if you would like to after this call. Awesome. And then there's going to be the neutral tasks. So getting clear on what's giving you energy, what's depleting your energy throughout the week. What are the things you don't like to do at all? Like, I have a friend who hates checking his emails. To each their own. We're all very different in the way that we do things. So he literally hires someone to do that for him. I don't mind doing that. But again, there's no right or wrong answer here. We are all very unique and different. And there might be a time where you get too busy where you can't check your emails and you need someone to do that for you, right? Neutral tasks. So fill in around your core power hours. So the goal is to do the neutral tasks around times where you're energized. So, getting a little clarity here. And really, what I want you guys to get clear on today, more than anything, we won't dive too deep into this simply because of the timing. And again, I appreciate y'all sticking through all the crazy chaos that went down. We really just want to identify today what's life draining, what's neutral, and what's life giving. And you could potentially do this daily and get really clear on the tasks that you're doing. The goal is to minimize the life draining tasks and to maximize the life giving activities weekly as much as you can. And just get really intentional with the way that you are moving throughout your week. Such a simple way to honor and to be in full alignment, to honor yourself and to be in full alignment can make such a huge impact in your entire life. And for me, in hindsight, getting clear on these things was almost the equivalent to like taking I don't want to be so extreme, but like taking an antidepressant, because you're no longer forcing, you're no longer creating unnecessary chaos when you're working with your life instead of against. So, in order to design that, again, just for repetition's sake, understand how your chaos addictions impact your personal energy. We want to minimize the draining tasks. We want to maximize the life-giving activities effectively. Pour yourself into communities too. Again, I'm going to keep saying that. Tom, have to bounce and go surfing. Great session. Thank you, Tom. I appreciate you. Thank you for your energy and your feedback and your input. Have fun surfing. Appreciate you. And then 4, align your daily tasks with your natural biological power rhythms. We're about to start our reset session together. So I'm going to guide you guys through a visualization. I do have this recorded. So for Tom, I know you're about to leave. I'll be sending this out to you so you'll have it. But what I would like for you guys to do, if you could, find a space, if possible, if you're driving, if you're doing anything where you're moving around, please be safe. Again, I'll be sending this out later. But I'm going to do a guided visualization with you. So I'd like for you to be in a space where you can feel relaxed, where you feel calm, where there's not a whole lot of outside noise, and where you can deeply immerse yourself in this visualization with me. I'm going to play some music as well, so will help us center ourselves. And we'll get started shortly. Okay, before I do that, I'm gonna, just for time's sake, I'm gonna put in the chat for you guys the prompts for our last session so you can answer this. What if your leadership calendar looked like a rhythm, not a punishment? What do I need to stop scheduling over my soul? Okay. And I'm going to read out the auto suggestions and priming statements before we get started. I'll say each twice. I give myself permission to embody a new standard of overflow. I give myself permission to embody a new standard of overflow. I trust the wisdom of my body and its natural pace. Okay, go ahead and close your eyes. Thank you, Nikki. Now allow your body to soften, shoulders dropping, jaw relaxing, and your belly unclenching. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, let go of everything that doesn't belong to you. One more breath. And this time, let your exhale carry away the need to perform, to produce, or to prove. Feel yourself arriving right here in your body, in your breath. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a river. This is not just any river, it's the current of your life, flowing with the energy you've given away and the energy that's ready to return. Notice the water. Fast, chaotic in some places, still and serene in others. You step in. And with each step, your nervous system softens. And with each breath, you call your energy back. I call my power back from every place that I left it in. From every yes I didn't mean. From every time I ignored my needs. From every calendar block that betrayed my biology. I am safe to rest, My value is not in how much I do, but in how deeply I lead. I trust myself to set boundaries that honor my energy. My calm is powerful. My presence is enough. Overflow is my new normal. Feel that energy spiraling inward, not from force, but from magnetic reclamation. Let it rise through your feet, your legs, your pelvis, your chest, settling in your heart, not as effort, but as power. Now see them, the version of you who leads from overflow. They do not chase. They magnetize. They do not hustle. They hold. Watch how they protect their calendar like a sacred temple. Watch how they say no, not with fear, but with knowing. Watch how their presence recalibrates every room they walk into. You are not becoming them. You are remembering them. Take a moment now and breathe. Inhale, I lead from overflow. Exhale, I release, overgiving. Begin to imagine one area of your life where you will lead with this version of you. Let it become vivid. See it. Feel it. Hear how they speak. When you're ready, anchor this identity in your body. Tap your heart. Anchor them in. They are yours. And so it is. Okay, that concludes our embodiment reset. For everyone who's still hanging out, thank you guys for being soldiers through the chaos today. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Liz. I'm so glad. Would anyone like to share their experience through the visualization that we just did together? Thank you. I still have a few things I'd like to share with you. You're welcome to stay. It's up to you. I do have a few programs that are coming up, and if you feel called in an authentic way to be a part of it, I'd love to give you more detail. If not, no hard feelings. I'm not here to pressure or force. Abdul, thank you. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you, Mihai. Thank you. Where can we follow your work? I am going to share with you guys, give me a second, what I've been working on. But if you are interested in following me at any capacity, my social media handle and my handle pretty much everywhere is the Subconscious Muse. I aim to always post things that are elevating consciousness to keep people in an expanded state and to speak truth and to help people evolve past their fear. Let me share something with you guys as well. Hold on. Oops. Give me a second. Because I guess I am still here. I wanted to share one of my good friends, Keith, is also one of my clients. We became like family over the years. Just grateful for him. Each and every one of my clients that I've worked with have been organic. They've shown up, they've wanted to go all in, and he is no exception to that. He was a wonderful client to coach, and to this day he's still, like I said, he's a friend. He's like family at this point. He mentioned here hiring Lauren was one of the first steps on an incredible journey that impacted me greatly. She was with me every step of the way as I traveled deep into my, pardon my French, shit and dealt with my demons. In the simplest form, Lauren was able to accomplish what no therapist or coach had been able to do for me, to get me out of my own way. If you've read this far, stop and go engage Lauren immediately. Then buckle up for the best thing you've ever done for yourself. Afterwards, we can meet when you're smiling on the other side of your present self. And this small investment will pay off for years to come. I continue to reap the benefits and continue to work with Lauren. Grateful for his sweet words. With that said, there was one last prompt I wanted to conclude with. Thank you guys for sticking it out. Again, today was interesting, to say the least. I've never in my entire life experienced something like that. At the very least, it's going to be a story to tell. So I appreciate y'all being here. And I truly believe that at every evolution, we tend to have resistance, and how you handle that is how you get to that next version of you. And I've been through a lot. And I will say, although I don't wish that upon anyone, that's given me this muscle and it's given me the wisdom to be able to help you guys. Liz, yeah. Biggest fear teaching online. Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories, but never. I guess I just got so comfortable. I never thought something like that would happen to me. It's kind of wild. On our way out. Oh, and also I wanted to mention payment plans are an option. So if the price is a little steep and you don't have it all right now, I'm not a stickler and I'm not going to tell you it's now or never. I'd be happy to work out something with you if this is something that you feel is aligned with you. So the next section before we head out, I want to give you guys, again, our closing auto suggestion and priming for your subconscious. I seal this experience with self-respect and clarity. I seal this experience with self-respect and clarity. I walk forward with my energy as my guide. I walk forward with my energy as my guide. Now, before everyone leaves, what's one word about something that you're reclaiming today? If you could drop it in the chat. Calm, beautiful. Love that. Peace, yes. Wonderful. Peace is where it's at. I love it. Thank you. And your last journal prompt for today. Trust in myself, beautiful, beautiful. I love that so much. I would like for you to write down, in honor of today's workshop, I'm too smart to be this tired, so I no longer blank. And feel free to screenshot this, something to meditate on for the day. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone, ladies and gentlemen, for showing up, for sticking through the trenches with me, and for leading with your heart, and for doing this work that I know is not always the easiest to do. Truly grateful for you for being here today. Thank you again. Thank you, Liz. I appreciate you too. Thank you, Mihai. Thank you very much. Y'all have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you, you as well.